Bro, what's your body count?
Oh, me? Dang, like 30 now.
Oh my god, you are a hoe!
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a hot topic that might just shake up your perception of attraction and relationships. We're talking about body count, and no, not just the number of people you've swiped right on. Specifically, how having a high body count when it comes to sex affects your attractiveness to women. Does it make you more appealing, or is it a complete turn-off? Let's break it down together. But before we get started, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on future content. Alright, I'm curious, do you think a high body count makes someone more attractive, or do you think it doesn't matter? Drop your thoughts in the comments below as we go through this. Alright, so let's start with the idea of confidence. One of the first things we need to think about is how body count might impact a man's self-esteem and confidence. Now picture this, if a guy has been with more women, he might feel more comfortable in his own skin. He could become more assertive in social situations, and maybe even more relaxed when it comes to intimacy. Why? Because he's had experience. And let's be real, confidence is incredibly attractive to many women. Confidence can make someone seem more capable, fun, and easygoing, and it's definitely a trait that many women find appealing. But here's where things get interesting. While some women do like a man who's confident and experienced, others might not care much about the number of partners he's had. For them, it's not about body count, it's about who you are now. They want to know about your values, your emotional maturity, and the connection you can build together. So while experience might help some men become more confident, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that every woman will be impressed by that. Some people say the more experience you have, the more confident you become, which could lead to smoother relationships and interactions. But is that really true, or is confidence something that comes from other areas of your life? And how do women really feel about men with higher body counts? Let's explore that a little deeper. Next up, let's talk about something that could turn this entire theory upside down: emotional connection. For many women, the idea of a man having been with a lot of people can raise some red flags. It might make them wonder, does this imply a lack of emotional depth? Could he be someone who's just in it for the physical pleasure rather than seeking something more meaningful? Or maybe does it suggest that he's not interested in commitment and is only looking for casual, shallow experiences? Some women might feel that a man with a high body count could be less emotionally available. They might worry that he's someone who's just been casually moving from one relationship to the next without ever really allowing himself to get deeply involved or emotionally invested. Instead of feeling excited by the idea of someone with more experience, they might see it as a red flag, a sign that he might not be looking for anything serious. That's why for some women, the thought of competing with past partners might make them feel uneasy. If a guy has been with a lot of people, it can create a sense of insecurity. They might wonder, am I just one of many, or could I be the one he actually chooses for something long-term? The fear of being just another name on a list can be a real turn-off. Women who value emotional intimacy may feel that someone with a high body count has potentially built up emotional walls or could be too focused on past experiences to form a genuine connection. So while some may find experience attractive, others might find it more important that a man is emotionally available and ready to invest in them. Now let's talk about society's influence. There's no denying that society has long had a way of placing different expectations on men and women when it comes to sex and relationships. Men are often praised or even admired for having a higher body count. It's like they're seen as more experienced or more desirable, sometimes even gaining a reputation as players or alphas. But women, on the other hand, are typically faced with judgment or even shaming for having multiple sexual partners. Words like slut or promiscuous are often used to criticize women, while men are celebrated for the same thing. So if a man is lauded for his sexual experiences and a high body count, does that boost his attractiveness? For some it might. There's a certain social validation that comes with the idea of having more experience in the bedroom, and for some women that could be appealing. But here's where we need to pause and reflect. People are becoming much more aware of how damaging these double standards can be. It's 2025 and we're seeing a shift shift in attitudes across the board. More and more people are rejecting these traditional, outdated ideas about what makes someone good enough or desirable. The focus is moving away from things like body count and shifting toward values like respect, kindness, and emotional intelligence. It's no longer just about ticking boxes on a checklist, like asking, how many people have you slept with? Instead, we're learning that genuine connection, emotional depth, and mutual respect are what truly matter in relationships. As society continues to evolve, these old stereotypes are starting to lose their power. Let's shift gears and talk about sexual compatibility for a moment. It's often assumed that a higher body count means someone has more experience in the bedroom, and for some women, that can sound like a positive trait. The idea is that someone with a lot of experience knows exactly what they're doing and can meet their partner's needs, making for better sex. But is that always the case? Does a high body count automatically mean better sex? Not necessarily. In fact, the key here isn't about the number of past partners, but about the quality of the connection and experience. When it comes to intimacy, being able to communicate openly about desires and preferences is way more important than how many people you've slept with. The most important factor is whether you and your partner can be open with each other about what feels good and what doesn't. Being emotionally present, understanding what makes your partner feel comfortable, and showing care for their experience all play a much bigger role than any past numbers. Some women might actually appreciate someone who's less experienced because it opens up the opportunity to explore and learn together. That's the beauty of compatibility, being able to grow, experiment, and enjoy the journey with someone without focusing on the past. It's not about having been with 100 people, it's about being able to tune in to what makes each other feel good. The connection you build, your emotional intelligence, and your ability to communicate with your partner are what really count in the long run. So the bottom line is, it's not all about experience. It's about mutual respect, comfort, and compatibility in the bedroom. Okay, so far we've talked about confidence, emotional connection, societal pressure, and sexual compatibility. But now, let's bring it all together. What really matters when it comes to attraction? Does a high body count directly impact how attractive someone is? The truth is, it really depends on the person and their values. Everyone has different preferences, and there isn't one universal answer. Some women might find themselves drawn to someone who's had a lot of experience. They might feel that it's a sign of confidence, or that this person knows what they want and can bring that energy into a relationship. For them, a higher body count could be seen as an asset in terms of confidence and experience. But then there are others who might prioritize emotional connection, shared values, or honesty over anything that's happened in the past. For these women, it's about how they feel in the moment with someone, how well they communicate, how much they respect each other, and whether they're emotionally aligned. These qualities often carry more weight than how many sexual partners someone has had. At the end of the day, a high body count doesn't guarantee anything in terms of attraction. What really matters is how you make someone feel. It's about the quality of the connection you share, whether it's intellectual, emotional, or physical. So while past experiences might play a role, it's not the number that counts most. It's the dynamic between two people, the trust you build, and how you both show up for each other. Let's take a step back and get real for a moment. How can we avoid putting too much pressure on ourselves when it comes to body count and attraction? First off, let's be clear. There is no magic number that makes you more or less attractive. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that the number of people you've been with defines your worth or your appeal. But the truth is, what matters most is the connection you have with another person, and that connection can come from many different places. Whether you've been with one person or 100, the right person is going to care about who you are, not the number of people you've been with. A healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, shared values, and emotional availability, not a tally of past experiences. We have to stop stressing over numbers and focus on the things that truly make a relationship strong, like respect, honesty, and communication. At the end of the day, it's about being comfortable with yourself and being honest with others. If you're constantly worried about how many people you've slept with, you might miss out on what really matters. The connection you're building in the here and now. The right person won't judge you for your past. They'll be more interested in who you are as a person today. So let's let go of the pressure to measure up to some arbitrary standard and focus on what truly makes a relationship meaningful. Let's keep it simple. Relationships are about connection and mutual respect. And when you find that, the number of people in your past will fade into the background. All right, we've covered a lot of ground today, so let's take a moment to wrap things up. At the end of the the day, the most important thing to remember is that everyone has different preferences when it comes to attraction. There's no universal standard that applies to everyone, and the number of sexual partners someone has doesn't define their worth or desirability. It's easy to get caught up in thinking that the more experience you have, the more attractive you become. But the truth is, it's not about quantity, it's about the quality of who you are and how you connect with others. Being emotionally mature, kind, and open to forming genuine connections will always matter more than a past you can't change. Relationships aren't built on numbers, they're built on trust, communication, and the ability to grow together. It's about respecting your partner's feelings and being vulnerable with them in a way that fosters intimacy. Whether your body count is high or low, it's the way you show up in your relationships that truly counts. Attraction isn't one size fits all. Some people might be drawn to a partner with more experience, while others might find emotional intelligence and shared values more important. The key is to focus on what really matters in relationships: mutual respect, trust, kindness, and shared values. When you find someone who appreciates you for who you are, all of the external factors, like body count, become irrelevant. So no matter where you stand on the spectrum of body count, just know that it's your character, your emotional depth, and the way you treat others that will truly make you attractive. Let's focus on what really builds lasting relationships, those deep, meaningful connections that go beyond numbers. All right, we've covered a lot of ground today, and now it's time to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in and sticking with me through this discussion. I'd love to hear your thoughts on everything we talked about. Do you think having a high body count makes someone more attractive, or is that just an outdated myth we need to let go of? I'm really curious to know what you think, so drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's start a conversation about it. Whether you agree with some of the points I made or you have a completely different perspective, I want to hear from you. It's so important to have these kinds of conversations and challenge the myths that often surround topics like this. After all, everyone has their own experiences, and what attracts one person might not necessarily be the same for someone else. Also, if you found this video helpful or thought-provoking, make sure to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, so you don't miss out on future videos where we dive into topics just like this one. And hey, if you know someone who might find this conversation interesting, share the video with them and let's keep the discussion going. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate all of you being part of this community. Catch you in the next one, where we'll be exploring even more thought-provoking topics. Until then, take care and remember, it's all about the connections we make and the respect we give each other. See you soon.